Welcome back, and it's another week of talking technical. And wow, I mean, the S&P 500 had such wonderful times behind it. I think we saw about 7, 8 days in a row where the market just ticking higher. And of course, that always surprised me is that the moment that the Fed is starting to assist some banks or address any problem, then suddenly the markets offer some value. But the moment when the Fed starts to pivot, as we say, and that they're not interested in helping the markets, then suddenly everybody is talking about the market is expensive. So after 40 years behind the screen and after 40 years working with charts, I cannot understand it. But I mean, let's look at some requests. And the first one that we would like to look at is Discovery. Now, I mean, this share had such a beautiful rally from about last year, November, all the way from 113 Rand a few weeks back. It was 152. But I would like to tell the viewer here, just have a look at this 50-day moving average. And I like to use the 50-day moving average for the medium-term view because that always gives me a good indication of what the market is thinking about that specific share at that point in time. Now, well, if you look at this, look at the 50-day moving average, and that is sitting exactly at 141 Rand and 90 cents. But what's interesting, look what happens. The moment it gets above the 50-day moving average, it stays there for quite a number of time. And if it starts to consolidate below it, you need to watch out. So for the viewer that wanted to buy it, I think I'll be a little bit nervous unless the 50-day moving average turns into a support again. And where will be the first sign for me that this can be a support? I just want to draw in that line there. Let's zoom it out for you a little bit so that you can see it. There you are. Let's zoom it out there. There you are. There's the 50-day moving average. So that's our key here. But when the share can start to get above 142.80, we can easily see that the share advances from here and consolidates above this 50-day moving average. If you do buy, then buy above that resistance line. Make use of this stop loss. I'm going to use that little upper shadow to have a nice tight stop loss for me, 141.12. And my targets to the top maybe can be 144.26, 145.83. And why I'm a little bit hesitant to give more upward targets, and the reason is quite simple. Can you see what happens? The moment the share runs away from the 50-day moving average, it tends to pull back and give you a little bit of a breather. So when it runs up again, more or less to these levels, you can easily see that the share will start to pull back. On the other hand, if you have the share and you're a little bit nervous and you're worried about the share, then first of all, you look at the 50-day moving average here. You say to yourself, listen, it is a resistance now. Let's say we've got 5 or 6 candles below this 50-day moving average, then below this level, and that level will be 139.05. You can easily see that the share lose momentum. And then what is the beauty here? The beauty is we will have a move to the downside, a nice uptick, and below this line you'll probably see the first lower high developing, and of course below this you will see a lower low, and that will be negative. Let's have a look at Vodacom. um, Susan actually asked me, Frans, can I buy Vodacom? Now let's have a look here. The share is absolutely doing nothing for the last couple of months. And for me, it's quite simple. If I use that upper lines there, that upper resistance that's there, look at all these shadows. The moment that the share gets to this 132 level, there's nervousness and people locking profit. And on the other hand, look what happens the moment it gets to this bottom end of this consolidation. There's the consolidation, Susan. The moment it gets to this 120 level, then suddenly there's some buyers. So you've got one of two options. I don't know if you're a medium or a long-term or a trader. But if you are a trader, when it gets to this level of around 120, yes, you can easily take a little bit of a punt because it can rally all the way up to 132 again, because that's what's happening. It goes up, it comes back, it goes up, it comes back. And on the other hand, if you buy it as close to that, you've got a nice tight stop loss. There's my stop loss, that lower shadow there. That's 119.13. And I mean, you can maybe close to this level, find a place where you can lock in profit. But for the medium term, there's your 50-day moving average. It trades around it. It's almost an unsure stock at the moment, and it doesn't want to show us some clear direction. Let's have a look at Adcorp. Everybody is talking about private education, and people are saying that this is the future of South Africa. But I've heard the other day of some people telling me that the cost, I mean, it was actually shocking. But I mean, if we look at Adcorp, this is a symmetrical triangle. Now, for me, quite simple. If you see a symmetrical triangle, I will always do the following. I will just draw in my lines, and I will say to myself, listen, Frans, this share is making up its mind because it cannot break up or down out of this symmetrical triangle. So for me, it is quite simple. The share, first of all, needs to get above this 50-day moving average. Then it will give my first hint that something positive is maybe on the happening here. And the share must break above 5 Rand 12 cents to make me positive. So above 5 Rand 12 cents, I will make use of this 50-day 4 Rand 99. Let's make it 5 Rand as my stop loss. And where can the share go to? Let's use the width of this, and you do the extension there, and you can clearly see if the share goes up, there you are, it can maybe surprise us all and go back to 592. And on the other hand, if this symmetrical triangle breaks to the downside, for me it's quite simple. The share can then lose some momentum, and there you are. Let's just do the extension there, and oh dear, then the share can maybe surprise us all the way and go to 3 Rand 70. So it's in limbo time. Just wait for it. Well, let's have a look at Mastercard. That is that massive company in America, and I mean they are in issuing credit, and look what's happening. There's your 50-day moving average. The share has ticked up nicely, and for me it will be a momentum trade because there is some nice moves already, and I'll tell you why I see it's a momentum trade, because it already advanced from $342 to about 366. So there's already about $30 in it. But this 50-day moving average has turned into a support that's about 362. For me, above, and there's the level 369.15, you can see a new higher high. And where can the share go to? The share can go to 371. There's a nice resistance there, 376 again, 378 and 380. Well, nice strong move here for Mastercard. I just want to warn you about, because what I'm seeing here is, although that we've got a possible momentum trade on the go here, we can maybe see a ugly head and shoulder formation in the making. So for me, it's quite simple. It must break above that level to wipe out all negativity. But look at this. There's the left shoulder, there's the head, and there's the right shoulder. And remember, the banks of America has some problems. People struggle to pay their debt off. But on the other hand, let's have a look. Where's this neckline? First of all, the share needs to get below this 50-day moving average to make me nervous. And that will be below 361, because below 361 we can maybe start to see a right shoulder. But the neckline, this is the crucial one. The neckline is sitting at 342. Below 342, this share can maybe surprise us, and then this head and shoulder formation can play out to the bottom. There's my conservative target. First of all, let's do that. Just want to do the extension there, and let's do the full target. If it does play out to the downside, we can maybe see this share going all the way back to the full target. For me, if the head and shoulder plays out, will be 304.35, and the conservative target will be 322.07. But for the other hand, look at this. There is a gap here, but that will only be filled when the neckline, this is the neckline, turns into a resistance. So for me, quite simple. Momentum trade to the upside, or lock in some profit below the 50-day moving average, or even short if you think the neckline is going to remain a resistance. Thank you for watching the show. Visit our website, www www.fransdeklerk.com for more info, and we will chat again.